Hello everyone and welcome back to the final 9 holes of the 2022 St. Louis Open. Production by Sky Heiser Productions, commentary by Hooper and Twiggy. We're at Logan University at the 2022 St. Louis Open put on by the St. Louis Disc Golf Club. How you doing today, Taylor?
Pretty good. We thank our sponsors, Four Hands Brewing Company, Fespin Disc Golf, and Dark Ace.
George.
And then we have Alan Wagner, Danny Beauchamp, Phil McGuire, and Adrian Chevalier on the card. And we have Adrian at 4 under for the round, Danny at 3, Alan at 1 under, and Phil at 5 over. So Danny and Adrian kind of pushed themselves ahead of everybody, the other two, because going into this, our entire card was tied.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet to start final round of an 8 here with 4 players tied. Unfortunately, Phil had to show up late because of traffic and missed his first hole, so he's slipping a little bit. But we're on to hole 10. It's a par 4, 506 feet. The classic dam hole at Logan. This hole has been here since the beginning. It's such a fun hole. You got the water on the left, the pond on the right, a big slope just going down to the left of the basket, straight towards the water. The fountains. It's a beautiful hole. One of the signature holes out here at Logan.
Yeah, and there's like 2 plays. You throw the hyzer flip mid-range down the middle, or you throw this forehand.
Yeah, and the forehand can get way down there. It's a little scary because you see that kind of roll, but it tends to settle in bounds.
Yeah, it's really hard for it to roll all the way down. I haven't really seen one before do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it can't happen.
Yeah,
but
and the landing zone is blind, so Danny threw this shot, and he was worried about that one. He thought it was going to roll in.
It kind of looked like it was going to hit the electrical box.
Yeah,
that's kind of where you're aiming
for a
at.
second.
There's like an electrical box on the left.
Alan doing this like inside hyzer that just fades down the hill, but kind of settles, and he does it well.
Yep, that's a good spot.
Basically anywhere out there, not inside this. You kind of want to get to the left of these trees that everybody's throwing through, and then you have a pretty open up shot. Phil throws a pretty good forehand, but catches one of the branches on the tree and kind of drops a little shorter than he wanted, but still in a good spot.
Yeah. And here's Alan. Really hard up shot. It's very slopey, and then you have to almost hand over the water so you don't fall down the hill and go to the water left.
Yeah, I feel like you just got to throw right at this basket. Like if you try to swing it in or like move it left to right or right to left too much, you end up kind of missing. Phil just has a perfect little forehand chip up here.
That's a great shot from
there.
there.
It's super good to settle that close. Debo, little downhill run up, kind of awkward. I think that might have caused him to put the nose up a little bit, and he puts it a little long.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine there.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's
probably
like
about
30 feet.
Yeah. But it's a little uphill, too, and there's some wind today.
Yeah.
Just enough to make it kind of annoying on uphill or downhill putts.
And Adrian kind of crashing those trees, and it bounces, and it settles. That's a great settle.
That was a good shot.
Yep.
So, Alan, this is kind of a death putt because he's fading down the hill a little bit. So, I think he just kind of gives it a chance, you know.
Yep.
I don't think he's running that one super hard.
Yeah. If you miss that on the hyzer, it can go really far down that hill.
Yeah.
And Danny from 30 feet down the hill, front cage, and it's taken off.
And this was...
Wow.
This saved him. That could have easily rolled into the water. He hits the shorter pin location and stays in. And then, that's tough. But it can happen so fast, and like almost any hole out here can give you rollerways. Alan taps in his par. And Adrian, after a nice forehand up shot, easy birdie.
Yeah, I mean, he takes 2 strokes on Danny there.
Yeah. Danny with the double roll away.
Yeah, that pushes Adrian's lead to 3.
Yeah.
And Phil with a great birdie.
Great birdie.
thanks again to MVP. And that going to hole 11, par 4, 661. Probably the most picturesque hole in the course. You know, we had these two fountains, and just you throw. It's kind of you're throwing, and you're just trying to go down the hill as far as you can. I don't think any of these guys are laying up.
Yeah, this landing zone is, I mean, it just depends on how you want to attack it. You can play it short and safe and just kind of go throw straight across and try to land up there where you can see, or you can try to like beat the dam, and kind of play with the slope on the other side. And sometimes you get some rollaways. Sometimes you flip it too much and go into the woods. A very unique hole.
Yeah.
And Phil does this perfectly, where you just kind of throw it right at the trees and barely fade it before them, catch those branches, which hang out pretty far away from the woods, and he drops in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
And I kind of like this play from Allen. I don't think he was meaning to throw it that short, but he's just chipping over.
Yeah.
And you can get up and down from almost anywhere over there. It's just kind of how you want to attack it.
You just kind of have to know where the basket is.
Yeah. And the basket from where these guys are throwing is like kind of behind where the camera is right now, down the hill.
Yeah.
And
So
okay, so that's what happened there.
Yeah. So Phil and Danny are, and I think Adrian's down there too. They're on the same plane as the basket. They just have, like, the dam is on their left with trees on the right, and Allen's still above the basket, throwing a great shot over it. It looks like.
So this is a great shot, but I think Allen thought it didn't hit that tree and went OB because he seemed really disappointed, but was very surprised to see that when we got down there. It was very close.
Yep.
And Adrian clips some cabbage coming up and still gets pretty dang close.
Yeah, well, 15, 20 feet.
Yeah, and so Debo is doesn't really have a run up, but he's a really smooth player, especially with standstills, and he just throws up a beaut here. And we're watching it. We're saying, great shot, man. And
wow,
just drains it for the eagle.
That
I mean, that's probably 280, and he couldn't see the basket. He didn't think it was. I mean, he was like picking up his stuff, like, oh, okay, I parked it. No, you made it, man.
that's an awesome shot. That's blind too. That's kind of throwing it.
Yeah, and Phil has to follow that up from a very similar spot. Throws his magic and puts it in a good spot, about 25 feet out.
Great putt from Allen for his birdie.
Yeah, Allen pleasantly surprised to find his disc in the circle for a birdie and bangs it. And Phil just hasn't really gotten comfortable yet. Still kind of shaky.
Wow. It looks a little right, but
It did, but I mean, that was strong, and it was pretty centered. I mean, that was a couple chains too many to be spitting out, I think.
Yep, and then just like that, that's the two-stroke swing back in the favor of Danny, so he's only one down again.
Yeah, and now we're on to hole 12. It's another par 4, 624 feet. Pretty open tee shot. A little bit of woods on the right you got to avoid, so makes you kind of throw like more of a late flip or an Anheuser flex. And then you've got this little creek that you have to throw across with some trees all along it. So it gives you some interesting gap options on your second shot. But first shot is just crush, and Debo crushes.
Wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
Oh man, okay, it's still going.
Yeah, he smashed it.
Yeah. And you kind of like, you could play this right, and it's a chip high, or you could trying to play over this hill, but trying to go over the hill makes it a significantly longer hole.
Yeah, I think the sign of about 400 feet of power is if you can get to where you can't see your disc on this hole.
Yeah.
And Wags definitely has 400 feet of power.
Yeah, all of these shots are really far.
Yep. And Phil also has a lot of power, and he's telling me he's really wanting to get over on this one. And he gets over it a little too much.
Yeah. It's still fun. He can throw like this is probably like a forehand chip shot through the trees, or you could probably fight through the right side.
Definitely pretty much anywhere out there past like the corner bushes that you can see on the right up there will give you an option for a birdie. And Adrian just kind of shanks it.
Yeah, he just like, he grips
and
off it a little bit.
we all thought that was that was really bad, but it actually just punched out, and it's up by...
Wait, this
yeah.
is still really far.
This is where his shot landed. And
Huh.
if you go back and rewatch that, he throws it straight into the woods, but he's got so much power, I guess it just kind of didn't stop. And he parks it.
Yeah, I mean, that's great composure to get that back.
Oh, yeah.
After thinking that you got a bad shot.
Oh, for sure. And it's just a wonderful shot. So, Phil's got this forehand, but he
Clips that tree.
clips the tree and drops down. And that creek does have some water in it, and that water is OB.
Yeah.
So, we were kind of worried about that one, because it looked like it dropped in the creek.
Danny throwing a little short. I don't know
Yeah.
if he was trying to lay that up like there or just
I think he
kinda-
was trying to just kind of float it under the branches
Yeah.
on the other side, but caught that one part of the tree. And Wags is trying to pierce through this tree, and he does it well.
Yep. Right on the basket.
Yep.
And Danny has this long putt. It's probably like
I think
45,
this
50?
is, yeah, this is probably 50 feet for sure. And just butter.
Great putt. Wow.
Yeah, that was so pure. I mean, he just floated it straight right in there. I mean, it wasn't ever offline at all. Just right at the basket the whole time.
And that keeps him one down of Adrian as long as Adrian gets the birdie.
Yeah, and Phil really wanted, he was telling me that he wanted to make a long putt and that this was the one, and he just kind of pulled it.
Phil gets the comeback putt for his par. And Allen with the tap in birdie, right?
Yeah, 3 birds and a par there. Shout out to Smoking Aces for sponsoring this coverage. We're moving on to hole 13, par 4, 455 feet. Big dog leg to the right, and then crossing this creek, and a nice basket guarded by a few big old trees with a slope behind it. Very enticing hole to run on your second shot.
Yep.
And you basically just want to throw as far out as you can, maybe a little bit to the right, and just set yourself up for this chip across the creek.
Yep. The thing to do wrong on this hole is just be early right.
Yeah.
And like you just don't like you'd have to try to throw over the bushes, and those bushes don't like to be thrown over. They eat everything.
Right. You do have a little bit of a low ceiling on the shot too, so you have to definitely make sure you push it underneath that. Otherwise, you might clip it, mess up your nose angle or something. And all these guys throw 450 without really any effort, and this hole is just lunch meat to these guys.
Yep.
And yeah, take a look at this shot from Phil McGuire. I want to see what this does. This was a smash.
Wow.
Look at this.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
parks the short pin.
Yeah, that's that makes that upshot really easy.
Yeah, he's
wide open.
90 feet. And then this is really cool. I haven't seen a lot of people do the overhand, but it makes sense here.
Yeah.
And that was so
perfect.
good. Alan Wagner just pins it.
A little crow hop with it.
And that was
kinda
so
cool.
high in the air,
Yeah.
too. He
I mean,
threw
over
that
that tree
Yeah,
is-
those trees are really tall. And then this is the typical play. A lot of people just rip a forehand at this hill.
Yeah.
You're not really going to go too far,
Yeah. There's still quite a bit of hill above this, so it doesn't. Yeah, as long as you just punch it into the hill, you're gonna keep yourself close.
Yeah. And Debo is a little bit closer. Yep. Nice chip up.
Yep, put into the hill and just have a little tap in.
Yeah.
But
Look at how close Phil
this
is.
he's getting to throw.
Yeah,
like,
and he
upshot
told me, he's
disc.
like, dude, I'm running this. And he couldn't decide what to throw. And he picked the Magic and just robbed. Just robbed by
That was such a great shot.
It hit the pole. I mean, it was such a great shot. Almost another eagle throw in. Like, oh, and that I'm not sure if like kind of the excitement from the eagle did that or if he's just kind of shaky. But Adrian, uncharacteristic miss there.
Yeah.
And that
ties
gives
it up.
Gives Debo back into the lead. Or back into tied for the lead.
We have Wags with the after the great overhand up shot.
Yeah, that was really sick. This was such a fun card to watch. I was just caddying, but just being there, the atmosphere, super fun, super competitive. All these guys just like playing really well. What do you think of hole 14?
Hole 14, the longest 229 ever.
Yeah,
this is so far uphill.
Have you lasered it?
I have not.
I'm interested if that's truly correct, because it definitely plays a lot further than 229. But it's kind of dealer's choice here. Forehand, backhand, straight. You can go right side hyzer. You can go straight at it. You can go forehand, left side hyzer. You can go roller.
Yeah, there's everything you can do. You just have to miss these trees.
Yeah,
it's really all it is. Just blast it up the hill and miss the trees, and try to skip a little bit.
Don't hit the trees, and don't pull it into the trees on the right. Just throw it up the hill, slide up there, take your birdie. Just like these guys are doing. And yeah, he knew it out of his hand, little nose up.
It looks like the disc choice. He just didn't get the ante on it like he needed.
He just little nose up. Didn't commit. And Adrian, after an uncharacteristic miss, just throws a great
that's a
shot.
great shot. Yep.
No question he's gonna make that one.
Yep, that's a really good one. Phil, I mean, he still's pin high in the wood, so he has a little, probably a 45-footer.
Yeah, it's very uphill and just a little right.
Yep. Then come down bottom of the hill. It's a little short.
Yeah. And he's missed a few short, well, not short putts, but he's missed a few putts short today that he could really be stretching his lead if he would have drained some of those. And Alan just a little off.
Yep.
And not happy about it. So Adrian getting a stroke on the card here. Getting the stroke back that he lost missing that putt on the last hole.
Yeah, I mean, he capitalized on it. Great tee shot.
Yep.
Get him to 15 feet. This hole's a little. I mean, it's hard. It's a weird hole. Like it's just you feel like you're throwing can't get there sometimes. It's so uphill.
Yeah, I almost feel like you have to throw like you're gonna try to hit those trees and then just barely miss them.
Yeah.
And then you've got hole 15, 262-foot par 3. Almost feels shorter than the hole before.
Yeah, and the basket is right there where the drone.
This one, you're mostly just trying to miss the trees right in front of you and miss the trees that are left, and then kind of fade right over the crest of the hill.
Yeah, it looks like Adrian's going that spike forehand, just catches a little bit of the trees. He needs to be able almost just need to be a little more inside.
Yeah.
On that shot.
Yeah, you got to throw around these first ones and then inside of the other ones. It almost defines your forehand hyzer line. There is kind of like a right side over the top play, and that's what Alan's doing here. But
this shot's so hard to stick the green.
Yeah, I think he just kind of threw this too inside, fades all the way down the hill to the bottom, but really not too bad from there.
No. Yeah, we saw Danny. He hit the big tree, like the one. Like if he missed that tree, he would have been under the basket.
Yeah, Phil's forehanding a Devil Hawk.
This is great.
He parks it.
Yeah, I mean this green is very hard to stick.
Yeah, good little tree there, but I think he would have sat pretty well anyway with that slower disc.
And that's Adrian.
Yeah, and Adrian juiced this.
Wow.
Yeah, he ends up. I think he's 40, probably there.
Wow.
And that putt is not easy, and he could easily go back down to where Alan is if he misses it. And so Alan is 50 feet, 60 feet down the hill.
Yeah, I feel like this backhand always gives you this putt.
Yeah. And gives it a good bid, soft bid, stays close. Debo's got a little lead, and we're getting late in the round, so He decides to pitch it up and say, "Hey, Adrian, make this."
Yeah.
And Adrian
it's a good play.
says, "Okay, I gotta make this." So pure.
Great putt.
Yeah. I mean,
That's huge putt.
yeah. Big time putt there. Big time pressure. We're getting late in the round in an H here.
Yep.
And Phil gets a stroke on the card
It's close.
with a great tee shot. Clawing his way back. Shout out Gateway Disports Devil Hawk for being a nice overstable slow putter.
And on to hole 16, 381 feet. Kind of open field on the downsloping right to left, and then you're trying to just punch into this woods. And the basket's just kind of in this little bowl. Very specific shot to actually hit this gap. You're kind of just aiming at that dead tree in the middle.
Yeah, you got to work a disc left to right here, however you want to do it. Roller, big forehand, or like a huge late turning hyzer flip or Annie. And Phil just overturns this a little bit.
More stable.
And Adrian, I remember back to last year when he parked this hole. Let's see if he can do it again.
That didn't look like it turned enough.
And no, it did not. This seemed almost like it was going to be really bad.
Okay.
So let's see where.
Yeah, I couldn't exactly
see where he
tell where it
lands.
went.
And
Oh, Danny goes
Debo-
roller.
Debo had been saying that he's this is kind of a safe play for him.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense if he's just going to put it at that tree. He's looking right in the mouth.
Especially after seeing Adrian like smash it and kind of look like he's going into the woods. He's like, okay, Adrian's gonna have a tough up and down. I can just throw this roller, land short, and then pitch up, take it easy par.
Yeah, I mean, at this time, at this point, they're tied right now.
And that looked so good, but there's this one big dead tree that you have to kind of contend with, guarding the entrance to this green, and Allen just barely caught one of those limbs. And so he's left with a 140-foot upshot.
Yeah, kind of. The basket's just over that down log that
Yeah.
has like the bushes on the left. And that was a great shot.
Yep, and that's exactly what you want to do. Just get right in there and sit close and tap in your par.
Yeah. And then
And Debo, after throwing a roller, and he does the same.
Yep. It's a great shot. Now Adrian has to.
Yeah. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's not in a good spot.
No, this is really hard to get to the green.
And just trying to get up there for a putt, and it kind of
Yeah.
rolls out on him. So he's still 70 feet from there with a bunch of stuff in his way.
Yep.
And this is his last ditch effort. He's trying to stay in contention.
Oh, still four.
So Debo's gonna pick up a stroke
Yeah,
there.
and Debo's gonna take the lead by one.
Yeah.
Well, Phil did go right, but he has a pretty good shot at it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad where he was, but definitely not a clean stance, and able to get up to the green, so he could still get his par, which he does.
Good putt for par. We have Allen tapping in his par. Yeah, this kind of starts like these last three holes. They're all very hard birdies.
Yeah, they're almost,
I mean,
par four.
Yeah.
Probably as far as statistically, what?
So we had on hole 16 we had 3 birdies and it was playing at a 3.38.
Three birdies.
Yeah, we
Wow.
had Isaac McDonald, Justin Bonnell, and Zach Finwell.
Those are some really solid birdies.
Yep. And then hole 17, going way back up the hill, 276 feet on an elevated basket. When I say way up the hill,
Yeah, this is throwing straight up basically, and it's kind of goes a little bit to the right, but then it turns back straight real quick. They've kind of opened up the gaps on the left, like there's paths on that left side, but you have all these trees at the top of the hill that you have to miss, because if you hit one of them, you could roll back down past this tee pad. I've seen it happen.
yep.
And Phil's trying to pan, like Anheuser with a little pan out, and that's
Got up
really
there.
good.
Yeah,
It-
I got quite a bit up there. Like,
yeah, it looked like it had made it through there, but he did get caught up a little bit. Debo doing about the same thing as Phil.
Yeah, I mean that he's looking at the basket. He has a putt.
And Wag's trying to make a move. This was a rip. He threw this so high on a big Anheuser, and it pans all the way out.
Wow.
I mean, that was so good.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of right where Danny is.
Yeah.
Maybe a little farther.
Yeah, I think he threw a Gateway Apache there, he said. And Adrian has so much power, it's ridiculous. But clipped something there. That was cruising, but caught some high cabbage and still in a decent spot.
Oh, great bid on that.
Yep.
And keeps it a little short. I mean, keeps it still 15 feet, so he's going to be able to get his par most likely. We have Danny just laying that up, taking the one-stroke lead in the whole 18, it looks like.
Yeah, Debo playing smart, just pitching up, taking his medicine. Phil's trying to make this.
Oh, yeah. Just a little short.
So short. Or, I mean, so close, just a little short.
Oh. Well, I just got a little too right. He has this tree.
Yeah,
I mean,
this tree was it was in a tough spot, forcing him to go kind of straight at it. He does well, but he's been so close on his putts.
Yeah. He's been
definitely getting frustrating for him.
Yep, and so we did have 2 birdies on the hole. We had Chase Van Berkelio and Zach Finwell.
Yeah, great birdie to get. Wow, Zach got
16 and 17.
And 17.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
That's a lot of strokes on people.
Yeah. Because these are very tough gets.
Yeah, and the hole is playing at a 3.3.
So Debo still has a 1-stroke lead.
Yep, going into the
and
final hole.
We're going into the last hole, St. Louis Open. St. Louis Open's going to have a new champion this year, no matter what.
Yep.
And it's going to be probably Danny Beauchamp or Adrian Chevalier.
Yep. It's just kind of those 2 right now. I think Allen is like down 10 strokes currently. Thank you to Ryan Coster at Ripper Studios. That's all the artwork, almost all the artwork for St. Louis for us, for the club. And
yeah, it's all great.
Yes, and we're on the hole 18, 602 feet, par 4, very challenging tee shot, and then kind of you have to just wherever you land, it's a different shot, like how to get to the basket. There's this big skip play. There's the down the tunnel on the left side.
Yeah, so this is kind of one of those high floor, low ceiling shots, and Phil just crushed this.
This is really far.
Yeah, he ripped that. I mean, he's probably, if you know where A-pin is, he's almost circle 2 on A-pin. Yeah. And that's really good. Debo trying to follow suit and just get up the hill, but kind of burns it into the ground.
It's a little short.
So the door is open for Adrian here.
Yeah. If he just gets up to the top of the hill, he puts a lot of pressure.
Yeah. But Allen's up first, and he's trying to get a birdie also.
Well, he's going to roll
He
it.
throws this nice little cut roller, and this one's great.
Yeah, it's getting way up there. Yeah,
right in the middle. That's where you want to be.
Yeah, 60 feet short of Phil.
You can be on the left side and still go down that tunnel, but I do think that the right.
Yeah, I think playing the skip shot over the road is the best way to do it.
And Adrian's going roller as well, but he just doesn't. Too much cut.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get it
and
up
it cuts
enough.
into the. He's on the fence.
Yeah, he's on the fence line, and there's a bunch of trees along that fence line that make it tough. Also, not just the fact that you don't have a run up, you have trees to worry about.
Yep. You kind of have to get into the middle.
Yeah, and Debo, just all he has to do is get a par here.
Yeah, and that's a great shot.
Yeah, I think he played that so well just by he took I think it was a mid, threw it just straight, short of the OB, you know, giving himself an easy next shot to get close and then tap in his win.
Yeah, so because Adrian kind of just has to get to the basket
Yeah.
from here.
And so Adrian really needed more cut on that, and he
Yeah.
rolls back into the fence on the left.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good effort. I think that was
Yeah.
really the only chance he had to get to the basket
Right.
from that stance.
Yep, there was no way he can get an air shot there. And Allen's trying to, like, kind of throw one straight through this gap, but he catches the high, or the low tree branches, and ends up short of where he wanted.
Yeah, just gets barely over the OB.
Yeah, barely over the OB.
Oh, and here's I think this is Phil's.
Yeah, that was Phil. He threw that warrior on this kind of tight hyzer line and did it perfectly.
Yep, and then here's Adrian. He kind of has to make this.
Yep, this is do or die at this point for him. And he says that's not even close.
Yeah. No, I think we missed. Did we miss Danny's shot?
Yeah, we might have missed Debo's up shot there. Allen lays up. Or he might have been giving that a run, but ends up being a good layup as well. And Adrian, pretty sure he's got second locked up, but
Wow.
misses it.
That actually is putting, like, that puts weird. Allen was only one stroke behind Adrian.
Well,
I
that
think.
might have been huge.
Yeah.
And Phil to finish for the birdie.
Great finish.
What a
for Phil.
tournament for Phil. A really unfortunate way to have to end by missing a hole to start his round. But he battled back. Only one over for the day. I mean, props to him for playing well all weekend, making lead card, and giving us a good show.
Yep.
And Adrian, man, this kid's good.
Yeah.
This guy is, talk about some crazy power, great putter, just
Yeah.
nerves of steel.
Yep, and he taps in his bogey, and
Yeah.
Allen with the par, so they tied for second.
Yeah. And Debo, story of the day, able to battle it out all the way to the end and take down the 2022 St. Louis Open. Congrats to him. Big A-tier win. Danny Beauchamp. Yeah, just played really solid.
He did.
Like, really no mistakes. Missed a few putts.
Yeah, I missed a couple missed putts, but
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2022 St. Louis Open, sponsored by MVP Disc Sports champion, Danny Beauchamp.
Yeah, congrats to Debo, Prodigy Disc sponsored. Solid player, really cool guy, really nice guy, great competitor.
yep. And thanks to Brett Elam and all of St. Louis for putting on a great A-tier.
Yeah, St. Louis Disc Golf Club has really run this tournament better and better over the last few years, and I already can't wait for next year. It was such a blast, and Sky Heiser did a great job with this coverage. I mean, everything looks great. Look at the beautiful view of the arch. HoopTwig commentary. Happy to have you with us, and we'll see you next year.
Yep.